Hello, good morning. I am here to do a little live with you on the theme of presence, and uh, it is part of a series in the Conscious Leadership Network of the 12 pillars of confirmation. And I believe we are on pillar number 4, which is presence. The first one was beginnings, the second one was creativity. The third one is gratitude, and today we are talking about presence. So it will be just a little short share, and then about practical ways to increase presence for yourself and for the people you love around you, people that you serve in your life. First, I made a short list. Well, let me just share a quick thing I started doing with my cell phone at the encouragement of a coach. I started using the screen time app, and I'm not sure if you are familiar with it. I certainly was oblivious to it prior to doing this. So if you see down here, uh, there's a tab for screen time, and it tells you can set up your downtime. You can set up an app limit. So right now I have this, and this is new to me. My app limit, Facebook, where my family from abroad is, and a lot of friends and family that I've known for a long, long time. So Facebook is at 20 minutes. I get to check in with everyone. Instagram is 32 minutes. That's where my business is at. That's where I build my practice right now. So that's that. And I also have to take a lot of my communications off Instagram. I used to joke with people that, hey, you know what? If you have my cell phone number, we're definitely friends. We're off IG and Facebook messaging, right? So need to work that out, and possibly once I have that worked out, less DMing, and I can even shorten that time. And then Mighty Networks, where I have a coaching network and then another network for work. That's 30 minutes. I have to check in with my team members. And that's the beginning of a practice to limit cell phone time so that I increase more creative presence for myself, for my business, for my family. So that's the first step I took. I don't want to be the person that talks the talk and doesn't walk the walk. So some other things that I jotted down for your consideration. How do you increase presence in your diet? How do you be more deliberate in your diet? This is also linked to a mantra. The mantra of the week that I have for myself is I want to have more discernment in how I invest my time for myself, for my family. And along with that discernment comes making more deliberate choices, obviously. So discernment, more deliberation, and increasing more presence. So diet, how can you increase your presence in your diet? Being more present to what you are eating, being more present to food planning, meal planning. How can you be more present in your speech? And how can you be more present for yourself using more deliberate language choices that builds you up? How can you be more deliberate and discerning in your response? So responding not in a fight or flight, crazy train manner when presented with communication. Just think about, do I need to respond to this? Do I need to respond to this now? Should I sit on it? Sitting on things, it's a skill that I've learned just in my 40s, that I don't have to respond to people right away. And it's a very responsible way to conduct myself to myself and conduct myself to other people, because the response that they get from me, if they get a response from me, would be more it would be more deliberate, it would be with more thought, it would be more insightful, and I would have given them the time and the consideration that they deserve for their response. Dancing, and for me, that's just moving my mace. Walking without a device, that is part of some coaches' homework in a coaches' circle that I am in. Journaling, writing down your thoughts. Listening to music, I've been doing that a lot lately, singing to music. And for me, it would be adding yoga into my life and going on my equipment and checking in with myself, giving that presence, that motherly presence to my joints and my tissues and my muscles and checking in with everyone. Is everyone okay? Are we lining up right? So that's a little bit about practical application of the idea of increasing presence in your life. And I would like to end this live with a little reading from the new book that arrived, What Happened to You? Conversations on Trauma, Resilience, and Healing by Bruce Perry. And it's very engaging because Oprah literally interviews him. It's in an interview format. If you can see, the blue is Oprah interviewing him. So we're just going to read a couple pages about presence. So Oprah asks, there are different ways to neglect a child. I've seen children grow up neglected because they were unseen in the household. Emotional goals, like James, that was an example prior. Dr. Perry says, oh yes, I've worked with several emotionally neglected children of very wealthy parents who chose to outsource parenting, but did so in a way that was developmentally uninformed. They didn't understand the importance of relational consistency early in life, so their infant was cared for by different shifts of hired caregivers. Oprah says, what do you mean by that? There is a lot of messaging in the world that tells us it doesn't matter who or how many people are caring for a child, as long as that child is receiving love and attention. Is that wrong? And Dr. Perry says, that's a great question. In general, the more attentive and loving people in your life, the better. But if you remember our earlier discussions about the developing brain and the process of creating your worldview, you remember that early in life, the brain needs consistent, patterned experiences to develop some key systems. Let's look at language development to illustrate what I mean. And he goes on to talk about language disruptions. If your child was to over-exaggerate it to hear 15 different languages spoken each day. So the key to having many healthy relationships in your life is having only a few safe, stable, and nurturing relationships in your first year. I got distracted because I thought, well, isn't it great to have different languages in the home? But then he just answered my question. Is the key is a few, like English, a sprinkle of Chinese, put on Telemundo. There's 3 for example, for my son. That's a few. A few is great. I think it increases their neural pathway from what I've learned so far. But he's just saying not to overwhelm a child. And we're talking about children before 6 years old. The key to having many health is to having many healthy relationships in your life is having only a few safe, stable, and nurturing relationships in your first year. This lets you get adequate repetitions to build a foundation, the fundamental relational architecture that will allow you to continue to grow healthy relational connections. Again, think of language. Once you've heard one or two primary languages, you can go on to learn many others. But when an infant, toddler, or child grows up in a household where loving is outsourced, the result can be a form of splinter neglect, where key relational capabilities are underdeveloped or stunted. Nopra goes on to say, and I think as we become more and more dependent on technology in so many aspects of our lives, one big aspect is the care about children. More and more, I see parents outsourcing childcare to the phone or tablet, or the children are left to their own metaphorical devices while the parents are distracted by the literal devices. Once, when I was driving in Chicago, my car ended up behind a horse drawn carriage. The children were leaning out and looking around. The mother was on her phone, chitty chatting away for the entire ride. Not once did she engage with the children or even look at them. And I kept thinking, when they're done, she'll post a picture saying, "Look at us, wasn't that great? We did the horse and carriage ride." Oh, I see. So she was driving in the back. She sees that in the front of her was a horse and carriage ride with a mom and a child. And the mom was on her phone the whole time. And the kid was just looking around. Oh, and I see this so often now, parents who are with their children, but not really with them. I can tell you this. When I do my son's Kumon work with him, he is such a ninja at catching my attention. He's so smart, and he teaches me that if my eyes are not on that Kumon page, and if I even dare look at my phone, actually, he doesn't really care when I'm vacuuming. This is the funny thing. He doesn't care if I'm vacuuming. He will still do his Kumon if I'm putting dishes away. But if my eyes are on my phone, if he's doing his Kumon work, he spaces out. He mirrors me every single time. Like I just learned that very, very, very early on. And when my eyes are on those coupon pages, that's when he concentrates best. I'm not helping him. I'm not telling him the answer. I'm just looking at it. And occasionally reaching my finger over and point. Good, good, good. That's all he needs. But he needs that. Sometimes he needs to sit on my lap when he's tired. But kids really do know. And when it gets to a point where they know and they gave up on you, that's unfortunate. So let this be a learning experience. If it is something that brought up something in you, that's okay. You're not the only person. Just give yourself some taps right here. It's okay. You love your kids. You love yourself anyway, and you have a choice to make different choices. You have a chance to make different choices going forward, right? I catch myself too. I catch myself all the time, and I learn from them. They remind me and snap back in the moment, be with them. So Dr. Perry says, I think this is a huge problem in our distracted society. We're not very good at truly being present. And Oprah says, even a baby can tell when you're there. They know if you are excited or happy. They can feel it. They know if they are safe or not. They want eye contact. And Dr. Perry says, they want full engagement. They want you to be present. The inability to be really present has a toxic impact on healthy development. As we've talked about earlier, the infant's brain is trying to make sense of the world, and because we are social creatures, a crucial part of this is building a sense of belonging. I matter. I'm one of the clan. This comes from getting specific you matter signals from others, especially your family. And it requires where else would they get it at so young? You're the only one. You are the only one. And it requires giving the infant, toddler, or child your attention. Not partial attention, fully engaged attention. I'm looking at you. I'm listening. I'm right here with you. And then he goes on to talk about um, dismissive caretaking can lead to an unquenchable thirst for love. That's for you adult children to think about. Dismissive caretaking can lead to an unquenchable thirst for love. You cannot love if you have not been loved. Dr. Perry goes on to bring up this developmental psychology experiment by his colleague, Dr. Ed Tronick, called the still face paradigm. In brief, and I saw this on YouTube, so please look up YouTube, Dr. Ed Tronick, Tronick, and it's called the still YouTube. In brief, a parent is instructed to not give any expression when interacting with their baby. They are asked to be disengaged, passive, and cool towards the child. The infant immediately tries to engage the parent, and within seconds of being unsuccessful, becomes significantly distressed. And it was distressing to watch, it too. So the still face paradigm shows viscerally that within seconds of a child perceiving the parent to be disengaged and emotionally absent, they start to feel distress and attempt to re-engage the parent. But when these efforts fail, the infant disengages and emotionally withdraws. Imagine that impact on a developing child if that is a continuous experience. And I think that's all I have marked. I also want to jump on real quick to another page where I highlighted, if you cannot, as a child, physically flee, and fighting is futile, no matter how much you cry, it doesn't matter. You can't engage your environment. Your parents will be for a child, perhaps. You psychologically flee to your inner world, and so that becomes your coping mechanism. You withdraw. So this is just a short reading on presence, on the topic of presence. Again, this is called What Happened to You? Conversations on Trauma, Resilience, and Healing by Dr. Bruce Perry and a project with Oprah. And that's all I have for you today on presence. I hope that this was valuable in some way and gave you some food for thought and inspired you to find in the smallest, tiniest baby step way to increase presence in your life, first and foremost for yourself, then for the people around you. Even if it's writing in a journal once in a while, even if it's, taking a little short walk, just start somewhere and let it build on those baby steps. See you later. Bye.